What's going on, everybody? My name's Tyler. This is Sean. We're Rendered Reality. Thanks for joining us again. Sean's got his coffee. I'm sorry we were like a minute or two late here. I had to get my coffee. It was brewing upstairs. We were actually, which you guys will have to stick around towards the end, we were talking with the guys from Starcade who made Starblazer and Virus Popper, and we kind of got snowballed into some really good, just fun conversation with them, and I was laughing too hard. So my coffee got delayed, so I'm sorry about that. And that's
Make sure you stick around for that, though. It should be pretty good. That'll be in a little while towards the end. But yeah, we got a couple of good topics to get into. There's not anything like huge crazy going on in the VR world lately, but there's still some little stuff that's pretty cool. You know, HTC possibly doing something that we can shed some positive light on and maybe not have to talk any negative smack about, which has been hard for HTC for a while. Some games that are, you know, we got some release date for some games, some cool stuff about some upcoming games.
I had some fun stuff happen here just a couple of days ago, though, which I don't know if you guys heard much about it or caught it, but on last week's show, I talked about my one base station. So I have a 2.0 base station that went bad on me. I think we talked about that a week or two ago.
We were trying to play virtual battlegrounds. Tyler had to sit because he only had one base station. It was kind of crazy.
Sitting. Yeah. I hate sitting and playing, man. You are obsessed. You like it. You can face one direction.
Oh, yeah. I don't move. No, I don't move as much. So when I play VR, I don't know why. Well, a lot of it's because of the wire. I hate getting tangled with the wire. But I don't. You physically spin all the time. I don't. I use my sticks to turn. So I usually face mostly one direction. I mean, a lot of times I get into it and I take my headset off. I'm totally not facing the direction I thought I was. But yeah. Anyways.
So I like to turn. So it's a big deal for me to not have a base station. It's huge, but it worked great. One works amazing on at least the 2.0. I can't speak for the 1.0. I haven't had them, but I had a crispy new package show up with Steam VR logos on it. So I definitely have one of the base stations in here. I do have to send the other.
How do you know
back.
it's a base station?
I mean, I guess it could be something else more fun. You mean like the wireless adapter that might be in here?
Yeah, I thought that's what it was. The index wireless adapter.
Wouldn't that be the dream?
Oh my god.
That would honestly be the dream though, to have the index wireless adapter.
Yeah, that would be absolutely amazing.
Literally my dream. Like I would throw money at it if they drop that. I mean,
so that means we got to jump back into some virtual battlegrounds with 2 base stations, and maybe we can do a little bit better than the past couple times we played.
I know. No, last time we did sort of good with the help of.
We did okay. Yeah.
Anyways,
it wasn't our best showing, but. Yeah.
So another good shooter, man. Can we jump into the Phantom Covert Ops?
Heck yeah.
I'm super hyped about this. We actually didn't have access to the alpha of this, which was a little bit too bad. But from all the crispy goodness of this, I'm excited for it now. You know, we haven't heard much really in a while since about CES probably, wasn't it? Or just after?
Maybe somewhere around there, yeah. But now we have a release date, June 25th.
Yep.
So there's actually a release date for this, and they said they're on track to release on time. That's what they're planning to do. I mean, you know, things do get pushed back sometimes, but it's not that far away for them to say that they're on track. And the greatest thing about this trailer and this new information is the fact that the Snake from Metal Gear Solid is the voice actor of like the main antagonist in the game, which is, I mean, how awesome is that?
I think that's cool. It just gives you those feels, you know, like from other games that you remember, you know, from, you know, before, which we see that, you know, with movies and stuff, with the animation movies and using actors, you know who they are, but you don't know who they are. So, but it gives you those feelings of who they are. And that's ultimately what they're doing.
And his name is David Hayter. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, he voiced Snake in more than a dozen Metal Gear games dating back to the original Metal Gear Solid in 1998. So that's pretty
incredible.
Awesome.
That is cool. Yeah, and it's a perfect fit for him. I mean, it's a perfect genre that matches, you know, what he did and everything. So it's awesome.
I feel like this game... Tony Digital getting this set off right. Good morning, guys. That's awesome.
Morning, man. And one of our newest Discord members. And if you guys aren't joined, he actually didn't even have Discord and got it to come on, which we really do appreciate. It's a lot of fun over there. And if you're looking for people to play with,
I just always assume everybody has Discord, and I guess that's not the case. But I always assume like everybody has it, but I guess not. But
I know we didn't have. I mean,
yeah, that's true. Until we got into VR, really, that's when we started getting into it. But yeah, I mean, this game to me is really shaping up to be even more than I anticipated. I think when I first saw these trailers, I was like, this is going to be kind of cool. You know, you're in a kayak, you know, it's a different kind of locomotion. I love shooter games. You know, I love these kind of games. I was like, this is kind of cool. But I feel like the more I see this game, the more it's shaping up to be like a big kind of a blockbuster hit in a sense, you know, and I don't know, you know, I haven't played this game, so I haven't played this game at all yet, but
I know at first I was a little nervous being like, oh, it'd be a cool beginner game for people. You know, somebody that's sitting can put them in, they can use a gun, guided, you know, very simple, no motion sickness. But now the more we see, I get way, way more excited. So it's really cool. I'm excited to actually play it, you know, for the game itself, for the content.
Right, yeah.
We already know what it is. We already know what you're going to do and stuff. But just to live in this and see it, the detail looks really, really incredible.
Yeah, it's almost, I mean, even it makes me think of one of the, I don't remember what it's called, the early game in the PSVR where it's like the haunted roller coaster thing and you're shooting and stuff, but it's like a guided, you know, thing where that's one of the things you don't have to think about. So that's one element you can take out of where you need to go, where you need to be, what you need to, you know, so you can, I don't know. I mean, it looks really cool. I mean, I think it's a cool aspect to do. I'm excited to play it. I can turn this up a little bit.
The lighting looks crispy.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Looks so good. Really good. Reflections on the guns and everything. Oh.
I mean, from the trailer, it looks AAA. I mean,
I know. It sure does. So absolutely.
Nothing.
Now, wasn't this going to run on...
That was him there. I was just trying to play his voice. So I don't know if you can hear my audio, but... Yeah.
Now, was this to run on Quest as well?
Yeah, this is Quest. This is Oculus exclusive, so this is Quest and Rift S.
But I'm saying, like, is what we're seeing going to be what's on Quest?
Probably not.
Like, are they going to run two different? Yeah,
probably not. I mean,
if they're doing this on Quest,
no way. Yeah, I mean, these graphics look ridiculous in this trailer. I mean, I don't even know if it's gonna. I mean, so in the bottom right there of this part, it shows Oculus Rift gameplay. So this part right here is actual Rift gameplay. So. Yeah, I mean,
they're going to be doing.
Obviously, it's not going to look this good in the Quest, but I mean, we've been impressed multiple times with the Quest and what they have achieved. What
was Red? Not Red October.
Red Matter. Yeah, I think that's a song.
I mean,
October.
That was a movie, but that was like incredible. Like that looked push this boundary, so we know it could be somewhat close, but there's no way. Not these textures.
I mean, those water reflections and
you can't handle that on Quest. No way.
No, and this honestly, I mean, if you have both, like with Pixel Rip 1995, I was like, you know, this is a game obviously I want on my Quest. When you know some people have the option of both. I don't know if this is gonna be cross-buy. If somebody might know, you can put that in chat. Right. But for me, this is definitely a PC VR title compared to a Quest title. Although hopefully it's cross-buy, so you can do both.
I don't know though, because this is a great game to sit on the couch and play.
Yeah, that's true. My only thought is, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, when I think Quest, I like the freedom of no wires, and I like being able to spin around, move all around. You know, we talked about not liking to get tangled up. So in this game, I mean, I can't imagine you're going to be moving at all. You're not going to be turning around. So this is, you know, visually, I want to see it more on a PC VR headset, and hopefully this is going to work with Revive and stuff. But I don't know. I mean, I guess that's true. It is a great game to just sit down on the couch and play. That's true. So I don't know. I want it on both, I guess. So hopefully,
I hope they have like some white water rapids though. That the kayak goes down, like some accelerated, you know, some waterfall stuff. Like,
I didn't think about that. Yeah, I hope they do, actually. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I do hope they push it.
Awesome.
That would be cool. So, Coaster Combat, Steven Sales. That's what
I know. I was looking at that too. Yep. Yeah. This trailer does look good. I'm really excited now. Before it looked like a fun game. It looked really good. But I felt like it wasn't pushing those boundaries. Not that every game needs to push boundaries.
Right.
You can have a good game and not push.
I feel like every trailer has just gotten better and better, and now they're getting, you know, big name actor, you know, voice actor people. So in a lot of games, you know, the voice acting makes a big difference. If you have really, really bad, cheap, poor voice acting in a you know, dramatic kind of game like this, it really can kind of break that immersion because you're not paying attention to the game. You're like, oh man, this person sounds terrible, you know. So when you get these people, it can make a big difference.
I had that actual first experience. I think it was the first gameplay trailer from Half-Life Alyx, right? And I can't think of him when he throws the gun down, the guy that's up in the window speaking. I recognize that voice from something, and I still have yet to place who that is, like what he was in, because I recognize it to a T, but I can't.
I'm sure somebody knows. I'm sure somebody knows in chat. I'm not sure either, but. Yeah. So this is definitely looking good. I'm excited for this one. This is one that, I mean, it's not that far away. I mean, some of these bigger games we've been waiting for a while, they should be coming soon. I mean, we talked about it, we're through first quarter. So first quarter of 2020 is out the window, but this year kind of got all messed up with all this stupid craziness going on.
So can we wager a bag of coffee beans if PD is going to or not going to make a video of this in a canoe?
Or a kayak.
Or a kayak or whatever.
Are you kidding me? PD's going to make a video of this floating down the river, not just in a kayak. He's going to be on a body of water somewhere. And he's going to have his Quest controllers attached to his paddle. So when he actually paddles, he's actually doing it. I can see it happen.
Dude, logistically, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. That's a high risk situation.
I mean, you run into like a rock and flip over. That sounds terrible. Don't do that. I mean, that could be dangerous. That one might be pushing it too far.
Anyway, sorry. Getting off track here.
Maybe in a swimming pool. Maybe you could do it in like a big swimming pool. That'd be cool. That's ridiculous.
Box that's sitting right here.
So ridiculous. But another one that everybody's been super excited about for a long time is Lone Echo 2. And we found out that has been pushed back a little bit because of all this Corona stuff. But it's still supposedly coming this year as far as we know. But I mean, this is a big title. I mean, this doesn't have the weight behind it of like a Half-Life Alyx because it's only ever been a VR title. But, the people that have been around in VR for a long time are definitely super, super excited about this. And probably even the new people that may have went back and played the first one, which, everybody should. True. But, so.
No, I just hopefully it has a lot, and it looks to be, and I'm sure they will just because we've come that far, is a ton of interactions, a ton of exploring on this one. Just I want to be in these worlds and just do everything.
And graphically, it's going to be good because the first one was beyond its time for, graphically for what it was. So I think that's going to be a very exciting game for sure. It's too bad it's gotten pushed back. I mean, we've seen a lot of things get pushed back. It happens. It's unfortunate, but, but
it's okay. We've said this for a long time, since we started doing this, that it's better to push it back and be honest than it is to release something that's half baked. And
I don't think they're going to do that with this game. I don't think they're going to, push anything out for this that's not really good because they have too much good momentum from the first one. They wouldn't want to mess that up.
Well, and coming, from Oculus Studio, I mean, they know what the game has to be an exit. Right. I mean, it has to live up to a certain standard. So I get it. They will.
So let's talk about HTC a little bit and what they are potentially doing right now. I mean, we've had a lot of where they already get into it.
Man. They're like, how can HTC even have anything positive at this point?
I feel bad because we've talked a lot of smack about HTC for a while with the Cosmos and stuff, and it's not all bad. It's just, I mean, it's. They went about it the weird way, and pricing. HTC usually always gets a negative light about pricing, but So
but I don't know. I still feel like it's too little too late. I mean, they could have something epic. They could have something amazing and do something great. I just don't know, man. I just feel like they're still so far down the totem pole now.
I don't know if this can be completely in a positive light, but I think it's cool. Yeah. I mean, this is, so they are basically, they're calling this Vive Sync. And as far as I know, it seems very similar to the Engage stuff that they used, because when they did, and I don't know if this is the same thing or a spin off of the Engage stuff, because they did their conference in that earlier this year, and a lot of it looks very similar. I haven't went into this Vive Sync stuff yet. I think it might be available, but another thing that's maybe not so positive about this, though, is that I believe it's only open to HTC Vive devices. I don't think it's open to Rift and stuff like that, as far as I can tell. But
is it only even on Viveport? It could just be on. I should check that.
Sure.
It may not be.
But I mean, basically, this is a way for businesses and stuff to do conferences, meetings in VR. You can have an avatar. And the thing to me that seems really cool about this is the avatar system. And basically, you can take a picture of yourself and you upload this picture to the software, and it makes an avatar for you that looks pretty good. And you can tweak it. You can change things on the avatar But that to me is what seems so cool. I like the way that they're doing that.
Right. Nothing else is really new. You know,
Yeah, it's
even
not
with like the
groundbreaking,
old
I don't
Facebook
think.
Spaces was almost identical to this, around a round table,
Yeah.
4 people with, you know, avatars and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, this is the part where
Yeah.
it starts to really intrigue me.
So this is basically somebody that took their picture and uploaded it to the software, and then you can see on the right, this is the avatar that it made from that picture, which is I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty legit. And then you can change, you know, the eyes and colors and skin tones and all that stuff. You can adjust from there. But I think this is cool. I think that more of the social platform stuff, like maybe Facebook Horizons, maybe this is going to be something that they do. Maybe, and because I don't like taking the time to make an avatar. Like when I want to jump into something, I don't like sitting there and taking the time to make my avatar look like me.
Right.
If I could just upload a picture and it's this close, then I would go that route any day. I think that's pretty cool.
And for the accuracy, without having to do anything other than upload a picture, I think it's a great thing. I really do. Do I think Facebook Horizons is going to have something like this?
I think they need to.
I mean, think they should. I don't know if I think it's coming.
Well, I mean, if it's going to be Facebook, why don't they just allow you to choose a picture? Like, I don't have a legit Facebook
page, right.
Yeah, but most people are like, why wouldn't you just be like, select this picture from your Facebook? You know, I mean, granted, people are going to be choosing pictures of themselves from 30 years ago instead of the current one. I mean, that's going to happen, but still,
what if you upload like a picture of like a dog or something?
Yeah, I mean,
like what happens, you know?
Yeah,
or maybe it just says no facial recognition or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But maybe, I mean, there's, I don't know, because I guess in Facebook Horizons, it should be all actual avatars, unlike like VR chat where you can see pretty much anything in there.
Sure.
But
I want to upload a picture of a chicken. I could be a chicken in VR.
You are a chicken. So it says to create your own Vive Sync avatar, you start with a selfie and customize from there. We want our avatars to be recognizable but still represent a digital space. So hairstyle, facial features, body types, and clothing options are all customizable. And we will continue to add more customization options over time. But that's pretty cool.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Are you ready for this? Pop quiz time. Pop quiz time. All right. I need everybody in chat to have their guesses of whose avatar is this, and it's not Ted. It's not Ted.
Yeah, it is.
It's not Ted. It's not Ted. But whose avatar is this? I just want to see. This was actually uploaded to the Engage one, I believe, but I think it's the same thing. I really think it's the same thing. I'm not totally convinced that it's two different things, but has anybody got it yet? I know chat's a little bit behind. They're delayed, so I just want to leave this up there for a second to see who's the first person to guess this right of who this.
But it looks really good. Even the shirts and stuff like look really detailed.
Yeah.
Like
I like this. Like, I mean, we've spent some time lately in alt space and stuff like that, and I'm looking forward to the more realistic avatars of what people actually look like, because when you're meeting people for the first time, Paradise Decay said Zuck. Oh, I think Mepper was the first one. He said it looks like Sebastian. RenderedRealityvr said MRTV. A couple people are saying Zuckerberg. So let me see this. It is definitely MRTV. It is Sebastian from MRT, but it looks pretty good. I mean, I was pretty impressed. It definitely,
I agree.
I thought looked pretty similar to him.
I think it's a good mix too. I mean, it's a really good, you know, it doesn't look, they're not trying to be lifelike with it, which I don't have that processing power.
Yeah. I mean, Facebook might though. They've showed us some stuff of that facial tracking stuff that was like, I mean, legit, you know, real looking stuff, which was cool, but
like when you look at Facebook Horizon, so the avatars though that they show, you know, in their commercials and stuff for Horizon, they're not looking like this. They're very much more cartoonish.
Yeah, but maybe Horizon 2 or maybe an iteration down the road, and not right off the bat for sure. But,
Sure, I get that. Maybe an update someday. You never know. But I feel like they're going to be more cartoonish avatars. But even if that was close, I would still
even
love
this.
that.
I mean, that's still kind of cartoonish, but it's recognizable. I think. Like, I think it would be cool because we talked about being in alt space and stuff, and we've met people in alt space like that we know from VR and doing the show and stuff, and we met them, and it feels much more like meeting that person for real. Like, I feel like I, in a sense, kind of really met those people, but these were just non-realistic looking avatars at all in alt space. So if we had something more like this that looks like that person, I feel like that would even further make me feel like I actually met that person, had an interaction with that person. So that's what I look forward to. I want to get away from the cartoon stuff. There's a place for it. I mean, I don't want to, but I don't know. To me, I mean, we're going to get into some talk about the metaverse, and that's what more of what I'm looking for, but we'll get into some more of that. But and somebody mentioned that that Sebastian's actually taking the language courses in there. So they have a bunch of different stuff you're going to be able to do. And I know he is taking language courses in, I'm not sure if it's Engage or the Vive Sync. I don't know, but he is doing that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so. It is. I think anything that gives us those relationships inside of VR and pushes towards that is huge for us.
Yeah. And this is, I mean, this stuff is needed even more now than ever. I mean,
yes,
yep. Zoom, Skype, even Facebook is getting into the whole multi-user, streaming, whatever it is for meetings and stuff. So, but I mean, this is definitely more of the future now, I think, than ever. I mean, there's more of a place for this kind of stuff in the world than I think we've ever had before. I mean, I don't even know 20 years from now if there's going to be office space rented out or, bought by companies of these big office buildings and all these people in it with huge meeting rooms. Is that even going to be a thing in 10 years from even 1 year from now?
I mean, unless you're physically interacting with things with each other. But even that you can do in VR.
Yeah, even this. I mean, they have, you can take notes in here. There's, you can bring in digital representations. In this picture, you can see a car sitting there. You can show videos. You can use a laser pointer, show slideshows. I mean, other than the physical touching of something, a physical, a prototype or a model or something like that. Those are the limitations, like you're saying, that we definitely run into. But there's so many uses for this kind of thing that, you know what I mean?
I know, I get it. But even when you think you need physical, we have, proof already that people are doing like doctors doing robotic surgeries and stuff from remote locations. So that even gets pushed, could you imagine 15 years from now at this point, where it will be. So
I just feel like
it's just time.
The world is weird already to me. The world is very weird, but I feel like it's changing. I mean, like in this year, the world is going to evolve, I think, from what we ever expected to happen, this quickly because of the stuff that's going on worldwide.
Right.
It's going to change everything. And I think that although VR has been pushed back and delays have happened and things are hard to get and everything else, I think that the power of VR and AR is going to be even more recognized in the common person, not the VR enthusiasts like all of us are, but the common people are going to recognize the power and the things that can be done with this stuff more than possibly ever before, I think.
And I feel like that's the case with everybody once they try it. You really don't understand it until you try it. It's one of those things. It's like trying to describe somebody the internet without having any knowledge of what it is, a long time ago. Right. So it's a tough concept to succumb to, but oh man, it works so well. Yeah. It really does. I love great. All our hangouts with people and stuff and our group play sessions and stuff, just because I feel like I'm friends with them now. Like I physically know them. Like I've done things with them. I have experiences with them. And this is just, another step to integrate the common workplace and things like that. So,
yeah. And there's definitely really more of a connection. There's more of a connection than just a phone call or a Skype call or, when you're in VR with somebody, there's definitely more of a one-to-one connection with that, presence with that person than any other medium that I've ever tried. But I don't know.
I agree. So the next step in the world of VR and all of it is the metaverse. Can we talk about this just a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good segue into the metaverse, I think.
Only because we've had a lot of, games and experiences are now coming to fruition that are almost out that are touching on this. And I don't know if people are leery of it because it's kind of creating this whole economic system in itself. Is it just going to lead to more mass marketing and stuff like that?
Yeah.
More of that Facebook control. What are we going to see in Horizon that Facebook has their hands on? Because obviously that's partially what they're doing, I mean,
I never thought about it too much in the scary aspect, but what you just I just had one of those little light bulbs of the fact that I'm going to be in Facebook Horizons and they're going to be keeping track of everything that I do or like or whatever else. And then I'm going to be on my phone and getting commercials for exactly what, you know what I mean? It's
you need to watch Westworld. You need to
I've
watch
watched a little bit of it. I haven't watched all of it.
That is what the whole show is about, about literal tracking people and what they do to their emotions, to everything, and then using what we do in AI and transplanting that into artificial intelligence. And it's really just, that's where this a little bit is headed. And that is the fear, because there's no way to stop them from tracking it if you're involved in it.
Well, they track. I mean, everything we do gets tracked nowadays anyway with the internet, really. I mean, as far as, I mean, I can search for anything on my phone that I'm interested in buying, and then I'm going to see it advertised on every other app that I'm on that I get an advertisement for. It just happens.
Right.
But, and I'm also curious with things like Facebook Horizon, like how much, how much in that game is there going to be paid for things in that game? Like, is there going to be certain games inside of that game that you have to purchase to play? Or, are they going to start coming out with additions to your avatar or spaces and stuff that you need to pay for to I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure.
I don't probably see it happening with Horizon, only because Facebook pretty much has a totally open, free to play experience. They're
going to be making their money off the advertising.
They make their money off advertising and logistics inside of it. So it's more about creating a place that people want to come so that they can do that.
And this is Facebook Horizons. This isn't Oculus Horizons. I mean, same company. They're owned by the same people, but putting that name Facebook Horizons on it instead of Oculus, even though there may be some kind of push towards Facebook as a whole, and I don't know, but...
Yep, I know. So it is heading in that direction, and we will have it. We already do. I mean, there already are some games out there that are doing that. What's the not Solar?
Somnium Space?
That one. Somnium Space. Yep.
Yeah. So
is in what beta stages at this point,
right? I think you can play it now. Yeah, you can actually
free to play,
download this on Steam. And I haven't been in this. This is one that was very odd to me. I mean, this is one of the ones taking it all of what we just talked about a step further into where you can purchase land and purchase things inside the game, like actual real estate that is, some plots are worth more than others. And I haven't followed this game a ton because it's kind of weird to me, and I don't know. But I mean, in the state of the world that we're in now, it almost makes a little bit more sense that these things could actually become popular. And I don't know.
They already are. I mean, not this in particular, but if you look at like Minecraft servers and stuff, those are huge. There are so many people that get on those, and go in and build houses and stuff. People that host the servers. So it's definitely out there, and the market is definitely there for it. I just don't know, is it going to scare people away when you actually have like monetary purchases inside there, or selling items in there, or selling land in there, like you would in the real world? I don't know. It's just going to draw a fine line that we're going to see a whole new world start up, and more towards the Oasis legit will be real, where you sell stuff to people inside of it. So,
I mean, yeah, because I mean, there are ways that I could see that you can make money. People making custom shirts inside this game, or custom weapons inside games and stuff like that, where then they can sell those assets inside the game to other people that want them. And I mean, even what was it Forza Horizon, where you could like totally customize a car and then you could put it on like the marketplace and sell it at auction,
deliveries and stuff.
Even though it was like currency in game. But you could a lot of games also, if you want more currency in game, you can use real money to buy that currency in the game. I don't know, it's weird. But I've often thought like this is never going to work really in VR. It's never going to catch on, and I'm starting to lean towards the fact that it actually may start to catch on because of the just the atmosphere that we live in nowadays. People. Depending on how long this kind of stuff lasts and whatever else, I mean, people are going to want to escape. And, if you can go into these places and go shopping, where you're actually going into shopping malls and stores where you're seeing actual items that you can pick up and purchase and they'll be shipped to your house or whatever, so then you're in a space where this real retail location is worth more because it has more traffic of people actually going by it than another location. I mean, it starts to make sense to me, and it's really weird. It really kind of messes with my head. I don't know why.
I know, like selling a store in the center of the city, where all the traffic is. I mean, what they would be worth, and then to get your items sold in there that you would design, graphically on a computer.
Right.
It does, and it could lead to real money if it was big enough. I totally get that.
You walk up to the register and you pay for it in the game, and all of a sudden this Amazon drone flies your door and drops it off in like 5 minutes.
But then you have the issues of like hackers and stuff that go in. That's a huge.
But that's always an issue. I mean, that's been an issue with the internet. I mean, they just have to create things to avoid it. I don't know.
True.
I mean,
I get it.
I feel like it's gonna happen. I don't know.
It is, and it will happen.
Yeah.
The whole Ready Player One, which people are kind of talking about in chat, will happen. I mean, without a doubt, there will be some form of that.
So Tony Digital said Mark Zuckerberg bought Oculus completely off reading Ready Player One. I'm sure what he read is what he wants. And I'm not gonna lie, watching that movie, what's the main bad guy's name? I haven't watched it in a while. I can't think of his name now. Crap. But anyways, what he wants to do is take over the metaverse so he can put ads all over the place. Sure. He wants to put ads everywhere. And that I couldn't help watching that movie and think that they could have just put Zuckerberg in the movie and played himself as that character. Right.
But, Cheers, Taylor, for subscribing. Appreciate that.
That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, it is going to happen. And I know somebody said, I think Mepper, somebody said earlier about, so Mepper said, how long did it take for the internet to get totally swamped with ads? The same thing is likely to happen much faster when new things become big.
Oh, it'll happen immediately. Only because that's already in place.
Sorrento. Thanks, Fluke.
Yeah,
that was his name. So
but it's already in place, the marketing, all of it. So yeah, you'll have ads pop up and stuff walking through, and all of a sudden the last thing you were looking for on your phone is going to be in the real world. Say you're looking for a new car, say you're looking at a new Honda or something, and then you're walking through, and all of a sudden you're walking past that Honda that's sitting there on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, I really do like that car. It is marketing at its finest. So, and it will be there, but it's a little.
I mean, and it can be photorealistic scans of things. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a digitally made thing. I mean, it's the future. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be kind of cool.
Though.
But I mean, there's other ones too. We've also been excited for this one for a long time. Elysium. We've talked about this one. It was on Kickstarter. They haven't put any new stuff out, I don't think, on their YouTube for like a year. Some people said it's not real. It was a fake thing. And I don't know, but I've always been excited for it because this one to me was like GTA. But I mean, and there's a lot of these kind of metaverse kind of games that are trying to be the big one. They want to be, but it's going to be hard to compete with that Facebook money once they really, and it depends how good that is. I don't know.
This one, I like the look of this one. I do like the art style in it. I feel like it would run on a lot of platforms and stuff very easily. It's a mixed bag coming from them. I don't know if everything we get is true. Which I hope it is, because I really like the look of it and I'd love to see it myself. Until that day I can, it's all just in visuals of what they give us. So, and it's all delayed and seems strung out.
Yeah,
and maybe they don't have a big team working on it, and that's okay too.
We've been hearing about this game, so I don't know, but I've just always thought it looks cool. I mean, because there's all kinds of guns, tanks, cars, boats, planes,
all the fun stuff.
I mean, it's like GTA. Whenever I saw this game, because GTA was almost like a metaverse in itself on a flat game, because you could do anything. You could fly a plane. I mean, I remember how many times did we parachute into the military base to steal F-16s and stuff. I mean, there was so much stuff you could do in GTA. And can you imagine? I mean, even though we can play GTA in VR, it's not truly VR. It's with the controller and stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's it. I want that world, and I mean, it's. I don't know. Like some games, you beat the game and it's over. In a game like a GTA style game in VR, where you're constantly trying to get more money, you're trying to build your empire of bigger houses, better cars.
Well, look at the longevity of like GTA 5. I mean, how long has that been out? And it's still one of like the highest grossing games out there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Gaming science teacher asked, what's this one? And this is Elysium, if she's referring to this one.
Yeah, I think she is. People are asking about this one. There is a Kickstarter for this. I think the Kickstarter ended already.
Oh, yeah. The Kickstarter was a while ago now.
Yeah, this has been out there for a long time, and it's not... I don't know. So as far as we know, they're still working on this, and this is still coming. But they've had some skepticism for how long they've taken to get it out there. And but I mean, this is another one that's basically a metaverse. That's what I mean, you can build anything. You can make storefronts. You can do, and I don't know if there's going to be real currency exchange.
Yeah,
I
don't think
there's
land purchases,
I don't think so.
But
but I mean that could be coming too. I don't know, but it looks awesome. It looks really cool.
It does. Yep.
Yeah.
I know we'll be there eventually. I would actually be excited to have it now, and I think it's closer than we think. I think Horizon is going to be a short order form of this. I don't think it's going to be as exploratory and but being that we see planes and stuff now, it may just be small games that we can do inside there. We don't know that yet either. And maybe some of you do. Maybe some of you were in the beta, actually.
Yeah. Unfortunately, neither one of us got into the beta, which I'm still not excited about.
Probably because our channel and stuff, they probably don't want to.
I did get something from them a while back that was an email that was something. and I filled out the thing, and it said that one of my answers disqualified me from something, and I didn't know if maybe that was because I put in there that we do a YouTube thing, and so that I don't know if that disqualified, and I don't even know if that was for Horizons. It didn't say what it was for, but yeah.
Yep. All right.
But man, it looks awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait for the Metaverse. I want the Metaverse. I think even totally more now, man. More now than ever. I want the Metaverse. I think.
Even if it's got ads and stuff, even if it's got, there'll be tons of ways that you don't have to be in it or experience it, or do something else. So, and maybe, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know where you're at, but.
I did want to mention real quick too. We talked about this show episodes back a little while back. I think it was when you were out of town. Steve XM was on, and it's called Upload. It's called Upload, and it's on Amazon.
The TV show.
Yeah, when we talked about it before, it was coming, but it's actually available now on Amazon Prime. It is a show all about getting uploaded basically into the metaverse after you die, where you can live on and people can come visit you. And I plan on watching it. The first season is available, I think, now on Amazon Prime. If you have it, I'll probably start watching it this weekend. So just throwing that out there if anybody's looking for something to watch. I think that'll be.
I gotta finish. I'm actually watching Silicon Valley, so I need to finish that before I jump into something else. I have like 2 seasons left, I think, but really good. Definitely, there's some VR content in there and stuff, and working with it's fake stuff, fake companies, but really cool.
Yeah. Another thing I did want to mention, I saw Paradise Decay said something about it in chat earlier. But this is, it's called Beat Sage. And what this is basically taking any song and an AI creates custom maps for it in Beat Saber, which is pretty cool. And they've done it before. And I guess this one is actually pretty good. Workable, so it's actually one of the best ones out there. And I mean, Beat Saber is still one of the most popular VR titles there is.
Crazy. I know.
It's not something that I play all the time. I like it. I think it's an awesome game. It's just not something I play all the time. But for the people that do and they want something new, there are some tutorials out there on YouTube of how to set this up and how to do it. And they say that there are games that are better for this than other ones because it depends on the beat and the tempo of the music, and all of that.
Right, sure.
So. But supposedly it does a good job. This one does a good job.
I don't ever find myself going back and playing it. I really don't. And I think to me, it's the hassle of doing, the custom songs and all that. Yeah. I just want to jump in and play something usually when I'm playing this style of game.
And I do jump in there when some new tracks and stuff come out. I haven't messed around with any of the custom stuff in a long time, and I don't really want to anymore. Right. But this might be cool. I don't know. I just know so many people love Beat Saber, so it's like anything Beat Saber related, you gotta talk about it because there's so many people that love it. And it's a great game. Yeah. I mean, it was the first.
It's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, they basically started a whole new genre in VR for. I mean, for all intents and purposes, they kind of did. Everybody tries to do what Beat Saber does.
I go back to Pistol Whip every time. I
Pistol
really
Whip, Box VR. I don't know.
Yep.
But I do like Beat Saber. It's fun. I remember the first time I got in Beat Saber and I got that holy crap feeling. I remember telling you, I played it before because you were actually on your way down to Virginia around the time this game came out. And I remember playing, I was like, dude, this game is it is cool. It is awesome. And you're like, it looks okay. And once you played it, you're like, man, we were both on that Beat Saber kick for a little while. It didn't last as long as some of the other people, but Jamie Science Teacher said, I love Beat Saber. I've never done custom songs, bought 2 of the paid DLCs, but I know she's pretty good. I know a lot of people have been saying they get the notifications of her crushing their score. So I know she's
so the nice thing about the custom songs though too is you don't have to you can actually just upload one somebody's already created and put them in. So you don't have to go through, the block locations and the timing and do all the work of it. Yeah. You can just basically put them in there.
And it supposedly works off really any song, this new Beat Sage thing. So it's kind of cool.
I loved it at first. I was onto it right when they started doing all the
custom
modded
songs.
Stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I loved it. I really did. Except then I just didn't want to go through the hassle of having to do it all. So
well then updates, they do updates all the time and it breaks it all and you got to figure all that out and it's just
got to wait. Yep.
Yeah, it's just a lot of time. And also I know Gaming Science Teacher said on our Discord that her cousin just got an Oculus Quest, so she was going to be in Alt Space I think this weekend. So, which is pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. She's been getting a lot of people into VR. Gaming Science Teacher has been pushing VR for a while.
I think a lot of it, once people try it, it's one of those things. So a cousin of mine down in Florida, same thing. I took it down when we went down to Florida. He tried it and he's like, where can I get this? And I'm like, well, actually nowhere at the moment, because at the time they were sold out everywhere. So, I messaged him back a couple times when I saw him, but
that is changing.
So I think the last thing we have to talk about before we have the guys from Starcade on is the availabiliability, which this is this the both Rift and Quest.
Both Quest and the Rift S, and this is by RenderedRealityvr. They posted this out, and so it doesn't seem like the Rift S is going to be very available. But for the for Australia, the Quest 64 gig and Taiwan, they're going to start shipping around May 4th to 5th. The Quest 128 gig is what really seems like that's going to be the most in stock and available for United States. It's still showing unavailable, but they're still popping up. I mean, even though this is just showing that these things are starting to coming back out. But if you watch Best Buy, if you watch Oculus website, watch Amazon, they pop up pretty often. They sell out quick, but I mean, there's still been a lot of people that have been able to get them more recently. But
which I think it's probably, for them as business minded, it's probably smart of them to make the 128. I mean, people are just eating them up. So they're going to jump on, if that one comes out and there's none of the 64s, they're just going to buy it because people don't want to wait and don't want to not have it. So
I think the price tag is a little steep, an extra $100 for that, for double the memory. But looking back, if I could do it over again, I would have bought a 128. Looking back, so I mean, it's not a bad purchase. If this is all you have and you've been wanting one, I say go for it. If it comes available,
you do have to, if you have the 64, you have a little more work in deleting stuff and re-downloading if you want it again. So it's doable on the 64. It's not, even if you like a bunch of games, it's okay. I don't know how many games I probably have on my 64, 20 or at least 20 some. So I have a lot.
I regularly delete stuff to download new stuff, but
Yep. Tony Digital said, if you want a good workout, play pistol whip on hard with one gun and no fail. Fire at someone until they fire back at you. That's honestly, my legs. Oh my gosh,
it's a killer leg
legs
workout.
for dodging stuff, and oh my gosh,
Pistol
it's such a workout.
And Lincoln Clay 670 said Beat Saber is still a big part of my workouts, and I mean, a lot of these games, I mean, especially when the bad thing with Beat Saber is until you're good at Beat Saber, I don't feel like it's that good of a workout. But once you get good at Beat Saber and you're on like the Expert Plus and all that stuff, Expert, I mean, that's definitely a workout. You are moving a lot,
for sure.
So it's definitely a workout.
I totally agree.
Yeah, and Reckoner said he's okay with a 64 gig Quest. And I mean,
so am I. I don't mind it, man.
I'm fine with it. But if I could do it over, I'd get the 128. Only because I get sick of deleting and re-downloading stuff, and some things like I don't even play that much, but I like to leave it on my Quest because I like to put other people in it. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that are good things, and I like to just leave those on there because so many times I just want to pop somebody into VR and I don't want to have to download that experience. Like the robot thing. First contact. Yeah, like I don't play that anymore, but I always want it on there because I like to show people that. So
I agree.
So
I did the same thing. I know. And some people even buy it just for link and stuff to run PC on, and they're not using a ton of
that's true. You don't need a 128 for that.
Right, exactly. So there's a lot of reasons why, and I think it's great. Do I think the price tag is too high? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It should be coming down
what does
soon.
That memory really cost? An extra $5 to produce? Probably nothing to produce.
I wish they would have just came out with expandable memory, plug in something, little thing into your something. But I don't know.
I agree. I know.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if they do Quest too. I don't know.
Sure. I will never see expandable. Everyone's going away from expandable anyways, so.
Well, that's just a way for them to make more money and sell you into the next iteration with bigger memory and
I know.
I don't know.
It's ridiculous. I hate it. And that's kind of why I like PC gaming now, because with consoles, is the same. Well, that's not true either though. You can expand memory on consoles with a portable hard drive.
The external hard. Remember the old 64s? You could plug in they had the little adapter that came out of the front, and you could plug in all kinds of. That was cool. I don't know what
you could buy the red. What was the red one called?
Red one was like better graphics and all that stuff. I can't remember what it was called. That was
went from 64 to 120 megabytes or whatever.
Something like that. I can't remember.
Probably wasn't even that.
It was, probably not, but it was awesome.
Somebody will know.
Those things are worth some money too. It's crazy.
I still have one. I just found one of those somewhere.
The 64 or the red cartridge?
Oh, I have the 64, but I think I found the red cartridge too.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love 64.
Gold time, man.
Oh man, that was like the original. That was like the original Call of Duty.
I know.
I love it. I love it. Right. Split screen with your friend. You could watch their screen to see where they're at. Oh man, it's fantastic.
Yep, that's probably true.
You getting them on the old ringer there?
I can do that, sure.
Yeah, let's get them on the ringer.
So coming on with us now are, Alexander and Brandon from Starcade. And if you guys haven't, we've talked about it on our show multiple times. They have Starblazer, and their recent short, small project, which we're definitely going to get into, is Virus Popper, which we were talking about, which is pretty cool. We heard before the show. But thanks, guys, for coming on. Brandon in the Starblazer shirt. Well, actually, both you guys have Starblazer shirts.
I was going to wear one too, but I was like, it's going to look really weird if all four of us have Starblazer shirts on.
Right. I thought the same thing.
That's awesome. But if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves and talk about your games, let everybody, because I'm sure there are some people here that haven't played them yet. So
right.
Yeah, absolutely. We're thrilled to be on the show. We love watching the work that you all have done. So it's great to actually see ourselves up on the big screen and be a part of it. So I'm Alexander Clark. I'm the lead developer and CEO of Starcade Arcade.
Push your mic away. Push your mic away a little bit. I'm Brandon Heist. I'm the other co-founder. I'm not as important as Alexander.
Everybody always serves their part. You can't say that. I'm sure he would say otherwise in private.
Absolutely.
So tell us about your two games. I think your main game is Starblazer. That's what you guys have had out for a while. I know that you guys have worked on a lot and constantly doing updates and stuff. So tell us what that game is, like a little bit about that game for people that haven't played it.
Sure. Starblazer is a real-time strategy game. We wanted to reinvent the genre for the VR headsets, and so we've been trying to figure out how do we streamline and make a real-time strategy game simple enough that a user could play in VR. That's a big challenge. It's taken us over a year to get to where we're finally figuring out just how to do that in an intuitive fashion. It all takes place in a sci-fi world, so you build fleets of ships and you can battle enemy players, play through some of the AI campaign and puzzles. And for us, it's the starting ground of the studio, because even as we work on other titles and properties, we see them all as fitting into this Starblazer universe.
Awesome. So this is your guys' first game, right? Your first VR title? Or have you guys done any flat development before, or is this your first?
First everything. Actually, Fun fact, the day that we started coding Starblazer was the day I started learning Unity.
Nice, very nice.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So the first version was pretty terrible. I was like, Brandon, I got a white ship to fly in a square around a white room.
Yeah.
That's the best thing ever. Simple stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my favorite thing is like the first actual like environment was like a whole bunch of ships and you could just throw them. And I was like, oh, we got it. We got this.
That's awesome.
That is really awesome. So
Yeah.
what platforms is that on currently, Starblazer?
Yeah, so right now we're in Steam Early Access, and so that's been the main platform. That's where most of our user base is, and we decided we were going to stay in Early Access until we fully finalize all the gameplay and then all the features we want to include. But we're looking at launching on other platforms this summer. So we are also going to be launching on Oculus Store, Viveport. Those would be like the direct-to-consumers. And then additionally, we want to bring it to VR arcades. And so that goes back to why we're simplifying it. And so like Springboard VR is one of those and a few others.
Awesome.
Arcades would be a lot of fun actually with this. So you're have two people literally walking into an arcade and playing this. It would be awesome. Because you walk away with that experience with somebody you know, which is really cool.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely. That's our vision. We always said that the long-term vision of if we could dream anything was to picture two people on a stage battling, esports style. Like we would love to see that happen.
Yep. Seeing it on a big screen behind them.
Yeah, for sure. You guys recently added the multiplayer update, right?
Yeah, I think that came last November.
Okay.
And then what we've been spending the last couple months on is the core gameplay itself and more how the user interacts with the ships. So Brandon can talk a little bit more about this, but one of the things we noticed is VR is overwhelming. I think anybody who's been in it understands. And there was just a lot going on. And so we had to put a lot of thought in how do we simplify how the user interacts with the ships, specifically can set pass and then cancel them and remove some of the clunkiness of the controls. And then that's what's going to make for fast-paced battles.
Yeah. We definitely try to make a game where you can just use one controller, one button. That's what we've been trying to do.
Yeah, it is tough because having those controls with, telling the ships where to go and stuff, there's a lot of things you can do inside that, a lot going on, that you're paying attention to. So to simplify, yeah, you're right. It would make it a ton faster. So I 100% get that. But it feels very intuitive, in the game. So people who haven't played it, it's simple, but at the same time complex.
Mm-hmm.
So it can go basically as complex as you probably want it to, worrying about who's going where and doing what and what's taking damage and stuff like that. But you guys have done a very good job of balancing that, especially in VR, which you're right, is tough.
I appreciate that. It's been really hard to find that balance. I mean, if I showed you some of the early screenshots of like the earliest version of Starblazer, we had this like dial menu that shows up and you can select all your options, and each button on the controller had an option of something you could do to control, and that was definitely down the wrong path. We've been like strip content. And then I remember the day I told Brandon, I said, you know what, if we really want people to play this game, we got to get rid of the cancel button. He's like, are you kidding me? We've taken everything else. You want to get rid of the cancel button? I'm like, if we can do that, then we have a simple game. And so that's actually what the Simple Space update that we're releasing next week, that's the goal, is you can technically play the whole game with one button. You don't even need to cancel anymore because you can just select the ship or double click on a path. So that's one of our goals.
Jeez.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So did you guys have a hard time getting like the AI integration and stuff working? I mean, being that this was kind of your first time using Unity and stuff, was that tough to get working, or did you catch on pretty quick? Because it seems to work really well. I don't, feel like
and this game can be played single player or like with the multiplayer update. So.
Yeah, thanks. Well, that's good to hear the positive feedback. I would say definitely the AI was a bit of a challenge because the goal for us in making the AI is we wanted to make it a realistic competitive experience. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of ways to make AI harder in video games. Specifically, if you look at games when they crank up the difficulty level, they increase the health or they increase the damage, and they give the enemy these different types of buffs. And we said from the beginning, we don't want to give the enemy any buffs. And we don't even want them to be able to break the rules of the game in terms of their fleet sizes and their different counterbalances, because we didn't think that was fair in a strategy game. And that's like the cheap way to make it harder. So what we said is, really, if we're going to make solid AI, the goal should be like, let's just make it a better player with the difficulty. And so it should be able to make faster decisions. It should be able to iterate faster. And that's how we want to scale the difficulty. It's ambitious. And you're right. It was actually very challenging because, again, I'm the only coder on this project. So putting anything in the game is a challenge because I'm the only one doing it.
So what made you guys want to start making a VR game? Like, what got you interested in VR and even developing a game for VR with not a lot of past game development experience?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So I think my old job, actually, I worked in VR. I had a VR lab. I'd have Alexander come try it out. And so he would come to my lab and we'd be like, oh, this is cool. And then after that, we're like, wouldn't it be cool if we just like made a game? And it was like we were more interested in the VR aspect of it's a future technology, and Alexander was interested of coding some stuff and like learning that and picking up his skills with that. So it just kind of came together. He's like, we like VR, we want to try it out, it's a new technology, and he's like, I want to freshen up my coding skills. And we loved Ender's game, so we're like, oh, when we made a game based off that. And so that's kind of how it all came together.
That is awesome. What year was it that you guys actually started developing this Starblazer?
3 years ago?
2017. Okay, so yeah, VR was really only about a year old, at least in the consumer space. So what was your guys' platform that you started? Was it a Vive?
It was a Vive.
Yeah. That was awesome.
I think that's about every developer that goes back that far. Everyone has a Vive they started on.
Yeah, that's pretty common, but that is awesome. So and you said your next update is going to be when is that planned to come out?
Yeah, so we have the two titles, which is interesting, switching back between them. And we can talk about, when we talk about Virus Park, we'll talk about the update we pushed yesterday too. But then next week, we're going to flip and we're going to push the update for Simple Space is what it's called, the patch, and that's for Starblazer. And that's honestly a huge update that we've been developing since February. There's a lot of things we did with the internal engine. We've been designing it so that we can get it to work on the Oculus Store to get ready for our big launch. And so building in their SDK. But then front-facing the user, we totally changed the menu system. So today, you're on the start screen with the ships, and you can smash them, you can pull up the menu, then you go to the lobby, and then you select your game. We removed all of that because we wanted to make it as easy as possible for users to jump into a game. And so we put this main menu that you'd see very similar to a game like, say, Beat Saber, where you just can pick your game. So we put that at the beginning. That helps bring forward all the different game types that you can play, which people probably don't realize how many game types there are because we had a horrible UI system before and so things were nestled away. And so now that it's all out there, I think it feels like a lot more content. And then we added a new game mode called Explore, where you can just do just that, explore this spaceship.
Oh, that's cool.
Because people like the environments, like we did with the lobby and some of the hidden things like our club that we have. So we figured we just put that all in one game mode. And then, of course, the control simplification that I was telling you about. That's a big part of it, too.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what controllers have you guys? Let's see, does it work on Index? I don't know if I've actually used it. Does it work on Index? Okay.
Yeah, it works on Index or not. All of them.
Nice. So when you guys mentioned Oculus, and I saw it in chat already, I think Gaming Science Teacher put in there asking about the Quest because everybody wants to know if it's coming to Quest. So when you mention Oculus, is that a planned thing that you're going to try to do? Have you pursued that at all yet, or been in talks with Oculus?
Absolutely. I'm going to give you the honest answer because I think that's just the best way to say it. So we've applied to Oculus Quest multiple times, both for Starblazer and for Virus Popper. We're sitting on our 4th rejection, so something about that misses the mark. We'll keep trying. We've run Virus Popper on I have it on my Quest, side-loaded.
Sure.
But that's not something we want to issue to people. We want to do it the correct way, and we want to go through the Oculus Quest system. So we'll just keep working with them and trying to find a pitch that they like.
Right. So are they giving you feedback? And I don't know how much you can say and can't say, but are they giving you feedback of what they would like to see changed or what they want implemented or anything like that? Or are you just kind of in the dark of what you need to try next?
Yeah, and I don't mind sharing this because I think everything's pretty transparent, and it would be good for other developers to know. I would say when it comes to getting on the Oculus Store and Rift, they worked with us pretty good. And helping get Virus Popper on there. We connected with somebody in the Oculus Start program, and then one of the developers there who actually helped give some feedback, so we really appreciate that. The frustrating part for developers is just Oculus's policy when it comes to Quest is they give no feedback on why your pitch was rejected. And I'm not breaching anything to tell you all this because this is just their policy. So you just get a yes or a no, and they don't tell you why on the no. And I specifically asked them, like, can you give me a little bit more? And they're like, no, sorry, we're not allowed to give you anything because it's a curated store.
I know.
Yeah.
It's hard.
You feel like
it's weird.
I mean, I feel like even honestly with the Quest, like I feel like it's good to have constant content coming to it. I feel like that sometimes it can be a little bit too slow of the amount of games that are coming to Quest, and I feel like they should want to help people, go down the path that to meet the criteria to get the game on there. Like I don't understand why they don't help more. And there's been a lot of games that people are like, what? Like how is this not on the Quest? And a lot of people get really frustrated, but it doesn't make any sense to me why they go that route.
And they may look for holes in the market too, instead of even just the game's, approval. They may look at the game and what market it addresses, and then maybe they just don't want it on their store at that time. They don't feel it has a draw or need. But being the point that they don't tell you,
it just seems like it would benefit both sides to share more information of what needs to happen. That's the part I don't understand. Why not? It just doesn't make any sense to me exactly.
Right.
But
so if it wouldn't get approved, would you ever think to go to side quest, or you really want to aim for, being directly on Oculus?
I want to try to work within their system. I mean, admit I'm with you all. I think transparency and feedback is the best thing for the community. So I can't say I agree with that. But then again, I honestly don't know why they have that policy, because I've actually asked that question. They can't answer that question either. That goes into the feedback category. Maybe they have a genius system that I don't see. I'm not sure. But we want to do our best to work within the system and do it the right way. And because I think we still have a lot of leg room to learn and grow, we can keep trying a bit longer on that.
Yeah,
agree.
Awesome.
So Virus Popper, you guys actually released this at the perfect time.
Was it planned? I don't know.
Right. Exactly.
Did you guys know something that we didn't know? Or?
Right.
We got interesting stories there.
Got a lot of interesting stories there.
Yeah.
But very relevant though. So much appreciated on that.
Yeah. So, and this is a free game. Like people that don't know this is free right now. Yeah. Anybody can pick this up and play it. And it's actually a lot of fun. I mean, it is a lot of fun.
And it's in the description too, if you want to grab it.
Yeah.
Yep. It's on all the headsets. It works on all the headsets, on all the stores now. Free.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
Has
price.
leaderboards. Nope.
So why don't you tell us about what Virus Popper is and your inspiration, which we might kind of know, but go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Well, it's funny you say that about, do we know something that you all didn't know? And in a way, we did get early exposure to the elephant in the room, of course, is COVID-19, right?
Right.
Interesting story. So we were originally going to go to Taipei Game Show, which is the first week of February. And this was around the time that COVID-19 was starting to break out. But us, we're like, you know what? We already sunk our money. We'll do it for the studio. And so let's take our chances. At the time, they had said, hey, we're going to keep the conference open, just everybody's required to wear a mask. And so we said, all right, let's do it. Well, so we fly all the way to Taiwan, we get off the plane, and then we get the email that they canceled the show.
Like,
so we walk
off the plane. I open on my phone, get the internet, and they're like, it's canceled.
That's terrible.
And I think that was the same day WHO declared it a pandemic, and we also got that notification and got off the plane. So we walk over to the counter, we're like, can we fly back?
Oh my gosh.
So at this point right there, you guys hadn't started developing this game, right? Okay.
No.
Awesome.
Yeah, hadn't started developing. So then we had to spend like 2 or 3 days there trying to get a flight back to the U.S.
Oh, man.
When we came back, we were quarantined for 2 weeks. Both of our companies' full-time jobs said, you're not coming back to the office. Said, okay, we understand. And we were respectful of that. And so I stayed in my apartment for like 2 weeks. And it's funny to me looking back, because people would be like, how did you do that? How did you stay at home for 2 weeks? Little did the world know that
everybody was going to do it.
A few months later. Yeah. So I'd say it was even some time after that. And maybe it was towards the end of our quarantine. I'm not sure on the exact timeline. But Brandon and I were on a call, and I think it was when the rest of the world started to actually have to quarantine. And Brandon's in Seattle. He lives in Seattle, Washington. And Washington, of course, is one of the spots hit hardest first. And so he was already starting to work from home with the rest of the world. And we were just talking about how there's a lot going on. He was talking about his kids and how there's a lot of fear and misunderstanding. And we just honestly wanted to help. We were like, is there something we can do? And then, of course, the obvious thing is, well, we're game developers. Should we make a game? So it's a Friday night. I think it was the end of March. It really hasn't been developed that long. It was the end of March. It was a Friday night. And we're like, can we do something? And then we were like, what if we made a game? Because that's the only thing we know how to do. And then we're like, well, what would that game look like? We got to put a base level concept. I'm not sure Brandon was 100% sold at first. He goes, no, because we're working on simple space. We're going to get it out. And Brandon's like, we're both thinking there's 1,000 ways this could be taken wrong, right?
That's true.
And
that's true.
We don't want it to like damage the reputation of the studio if we're trying to do something good. So he said, all right, why don't you take just 24 hours, come see what you come back with in a day. So I stay up that night. He told me to do it the next day, but I'm too excited about this thing I have had.
Yeah,
so I stay up that night. I just start pouring Red Bull, and I work through the night all the way until like mid-afternoon the next Saturday. And I'm like, I sent you a build. We have a game.
Yeah.
And he opens it up. He was like, are you freaking kidding me? And then he plays it. And he was like, I'm all in. He was like, pause Starblazer. He was like, can we get a game done in a week? And I said, I don't know, let's try. And so then he immediately started hitting the store, started building assets, content. And then I just set about polishing the game, started to send builds to Oculus and Steam to go through the approval process and set this timeline of like, let's make the game in 2 weeks.
Jeez.
Yeah. And kind of going back to that original point, we were nervous sometimes about like, hey, what are people going to think about this? Because we didn't want to take it the wrong way. Yeah. And we actually had to work through HTC and Oculus with that kind of stuff. Like, we're making sure like this is actually a positive message and not trying to like take advantage of the scenario.
Right.
Sure.
We did our due diligence.
And that's why we made it free. Because we said, you know, at the end of the day, if we charge money for it, at least the base game, like nobody's going to believe us that we tried to do it for a good cause or that we really wanted to put a positive message out there. And we were like, all right, even though we're making no money today, let's just do it for free.
Yeah. But I agree. I mean, that's a good, and I was going to ask if that was part of the reason you guys decided on the free price tag. And it does make sense because I could see how you could be worried about somebody thinking, you know, you're trying to take advantage of the situation or something like that. And that's not at all, you know, what you were trying to do. But, and Paradise Decay asked us to ask you if you guys washed your hands before coming on the show. But that's actually one of the first things you have to do in Virus Popper is you have to wash your hands. So, that is awesome.
So dispensers, that's awesome. That's why Sean and I have to stay 6 feet apart here at our desk.
Yeah. Right.
That's good. We're like 6,000 miles apart.
Yeah.
So
right. Exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That is awesome. But I mean, the game is a lot of fun. Actually, I was actually in it earlier today, and there are leaderboards, so you can try. I think I wasn't. I need some more practice. I was at like 300 and something, I think. So I definitely need some more practice. But it actually is. I mean, it's a ton of fun, and it's a free game, so I don't understand why anybody wouldn't download it. It really is cool, and it almost. We talked about Beat Saber earlier, and it almost reminded me of a Beat Saber as kind of a game where it doesn't match, you know, the beat of the music and stuff like Beat Saber does, but you have these things coming at you and you have different tools to use to eliminate the viruses, and those tools can change, and I don't know how it works, but I'm guessing it's on a timer where that tool runs out, because there was a couple times when I had a particular tool and I was like, oh, I really like this one. Next thing I knew, it was gone, and I was like, oh crap, and I'm trying to search for something else because if not, these viruses basically latch onto you, they attack you, and you have to, you know, you get your score by eliminating them. So is there a timer that runs out on the item that you're using to battle these things?
Yeah, all the items have a durability.
Okay.
And we made it kind of small because we didn't want it to get in the way of the experience. But if you look down at your right hand or your left hand, you'll see a number, and that represents the durability on the item.
Nice.
And so it also scales in terms of their effectiveness. So like the disinfectant spray has 25, so it's like the most potent. But then like the dingy little sponge only has 5 hits. And those design decisions were made consciously because I thought, I mean, how dirty are those sponges that everybody's using to clean stuff? I was like, do I want to emphasize that's the kill-all virus?
Right.
I was like, so
this is how you solve it with a dirty sponge.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We get comments like that all the time.
Yeah, trying to scale that.
Yeah.
Oh
I mean, but I had some moments of panic where I'm like trying to find my next tool to eliminate these viruses, and I'm getting attacked. They're like latching onto me, and I did have a couple moments of panic, but it's a lot of fun. So where are you guys at on the leaderboard? Like, where are you guys pretty high up on the leaderboard, or how's that?
I don't know.
I think I'm number 3 in normal mode. I was top on hard mode, which we just released. Did I get bumped in the course of this call?
Right? That's how it goes, man.
I'm sure.
So,
I'm going to reset them. I'm a developer.
There you go. Gotta stay on top.
Just start adding numbers, add zeros.
Yeah.
So are you guys going to keep updating this, or is this kind of a one and done?
Yeah, we think there's other mechanics that can be added to it. Like, for instance, we just released a patch yesterday, and it adds the hard mode, which I alluded to. Now, hard mode, it's not just that the virus are faster and they show up quicker. It does do that. But we added a core educational component too. So one of the feedback that we got is a lot of people liked what we were doing. Actually, the response has been overwhelmingly positive. People saw like the good nature in it, and they said, we want more of that. We want, like, it's a great game, but is there any way to add more educational content? And to do that creatively is hard because we didn't, we want to find that blend between it should still be fun, but teach subliminal messages. Yeah. And so something added in hard mode, I'm going to tell a little bit of a story here, if you all don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead, for sure.
It was inspired by unwittingly by my father and my mother. So my mom's on the phone with me, and she tells me, your father, I'm trying so hard to keep him safe in this pandemic, but he just not thinking. And I was like, what do you mean, Mom? And she goes, the other day we ordered pizza, and then he went to go sign the receipt, and he grabbed the pen, the publicly used pen that everybody from all the dozens of other houses before this grabbed. And she was like, what is he thinking? It's covered in germs and virus. And I was like, that's a good point. And so that's when it occurred to me. I was like, hey, this is actually a good lesson. Like, maybe people don't think about it. I think about it of like, oh, I shouldn't touch this surface, whether it's a doorknob, a pen, as we said, or like keyboards, touch screens. If you do have to go to the grocery store, like all those things you really shouldn't be touching right now. And so we thought, well, let's include that. And so hard mode has these clusters of viruses attached to commonly touched items, such as doorknobs and keyboards and things like that. And so it's a little bit of teaches that subliminal message. I think you're going to think twice, but it also makes for a crazy gameplay mode because when you hit them, the virus just like scatter. It's terrifying.
So I haven't played hard mode yet.
Awesome.
I need to try that. That sounds pretty awesome. So and in the game, to activate hard mode, there's like a soap dispenser, and then you put your hands under the soap dispenser. Or how do you activate it in there?
Yeah. Basically, you choose the game mode by which soap you use. So you can put it on the bar of soap, and it'll be easy mode. If you put it on the soap dispenser and then wash your hands, it'll launch into hard mode.
Nice. I got to try that. That's pretty cool. I haven't played hard mode yet.
Yeah, it is great though, because this is such a relevant thing that isn't going anywhere. When you first released this, I thought, okay, it's current. But honestly, as this all progresses farther, this is going to be the new normal, is worrying about things like this for everybody, whether it be personal, businesses, whatever it may be. So I think this could be expanded exponentially, actually, because there will be so many things now that'll be changed in the future from all of this that it's very, very relevant.
Right.
Yeah. I agree. And a lot of the lessons existed even before the pandemic. Right. I'm teasingly making fun of my parents, but it's funny. My mom has always been careful. Mm-hmm. And she made that comment. She said, I was carrying my own pen long before the COVID-19 broke out. She wasn't using public things because she just didn't want the common cold and things like that. Right. And so some of those lessons exist. Now, a specific one is we have been requested on the mask. So,
sure.
People like, you got to put masks in the game. So if you look,
it's on the table.
A mask to put on.
Yeah, that is awesome. But and even you mentioned using it as a tool for basically learning. I mean, it is you're teaching things, and I mean VR is such a powerful tool for so many things. But learning, I mean, it really is because it's. I don't know. I mean, I know everybody learns differently, but I'm more of a hands-on kind of a learner. And when you go into VR, you get to be that hands-on. You get to have that hands-on experience in a sense that I think you can learn a lot in VR. And I think it's going to become a tool that people realize how useful it can be, especially after these times and into the future, I think. So I think it's awesome. I think it's a great display of just being able to do something that you can learn something. And to me, I mean, the game is a lot of fun. And I think of kids. I mean, that's what, to me, I think, kids can benefit a lot from playing this game because if you try to sit down and teach a kid, about avoiding germs and stuff like that, they don't care. You know what I mean? They're not going to want to listen to that story. But if you can put them in this game, like my nephew is, he's pretty young. He's like 5. And he would love this. I mean, every time he comes over to my house, he wants to play with a robot in First Contact, but this is the kind of game that he could play. And it does teach him something, and it is, it can be a learning experience, but he wouldn't want to take the headset off. He would want to keep playing this.
But even if it doesn't directly teach them, it instills that in them, subconsciously, they now know that they have to, do that to wash their hands and how long and all that stuff. So that it's same principle with, singing the birthday song or whatever for washing your hands. Yeah. Every kid knows knows that already. So it's easy for them to sing happy birthday. It's like a game. This is a literal game that they would learn from, which is awesome. Yeah. But it's not just for kids either. I mean, it's not even about that. It's
a challenge. It's a challenge. Yeah, exactly. And anytime you throw in a leaderboard too, it gets hard. And anytime you throw in a leaderboard, it gives you that replayability because, you know, even now, like, I don't want to be number 300 and whatever I am. You know what I mean? Like, I want to get to that top spot. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to, but, you know, even like pistol whip and stuff like that, you know, a lot of people go back in and beat Saber and stuff to get them high scores. Everybody wants to see their name up there, but yeah, I think it's fun.
The mask integration too, I think, was a definite must. That's awesome.
Yeah, and you know, it was a must, but at the same time, we wanted to do it consciously. And so the thing I'd point out is, if you are keeping up with social media and news, I think the controversy on the mask is some people would say, well, the mask doesn't protect you from getting sick, and in that sense, it's like a half statement. So while if you wear the mask, it can protect you from the virus, the thing we want to be super conscious of is also convey that message of it's not just about you, it's about protecting other people. And because what a lot of people don't realize is with COVID-19, so many more people can be carriers and spread the virus, even if they're not sick or aren't showing symptoms themselves. Absolutely. And so when you put on the mask in the game, the robot adaptly named Hygiene, he says, like, he says it's not just about, you know, protecting you, it's about keeping others from getting sick and spreading the virus, because really, if everybody was wearing the mask, then that keeps them from spreading the virus too. So we wanted to show both sides of that.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's cool.
It really is cool.
That's a cool concept. I mean, and I feel like you guys are the first ones to really come up with something like this, you know, especially in this time as a learning tool, and, you know, you guys putting it out there for free, I think is awesome. And so I'm excited to see, hopefully some people pick this up today and see some of those other names on the leaderboard. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. No point not.
Yeah. Well, we actually learned when we were making this from other, like HTC and Oculus, that other developers were trying to do something like this, but it wasn't based on like a learning or something like that. It was just like COVID-19 kill some viruses, and it didn't have that twist like wash your hands, wear a mask.
Yep, which it definitely should. I remember, and I'm going to jump off to another game. This was an early thing for me, but my nephew, who's autistic, you know, since he was little, you'd have been around him. And then there was this experience that showed you what it was like to be autistic in VR. And until that moment, I didn't realize the power of what VR can do for giving you an out-of-body experience and experiencing something like that and teaching you something. And ever since then, you know, I've thought there needs to be big things like this, like what you guys are doing, that show people that. And it's powerful and it's subconsciously powerful, which is what I think is the best part.
Yeah. I mean, like people, you know, the cliche thing people say is VR is dead and all that stuff, but I honestly don't even think it's even begun to reach its full potential. You know, like there's so much untapped stuff about VR that we don't even realize yet, you know, the power of it and stuff. I think it's so early still. And for people to make comments like that, it doesn't make any sense to me. But even just, you know, this kind of a game, it just shows you, you know, there's so many thoughts that, you know, ideas people can have that, you know, I don't know. I mean, to me, the flat gaming world is more dead than VR is. I mean, I know there's always going to be a place, but there's not much you can do to, you know,
they're recycling.
Yeah, there's not a lot of new innovation when it comes to flat gaming. VR is the total opposite. I mean, there's unlimited amounts of innovation that can happen in VR right now. It's crazy, but
And I don't think in a lot of things with Virus Popper too is it was our own experiment. How fast can we develop? How can we try new things like leaderboards, achievements? So it was a learning experience for us as well. And I totally agree. Like, I don't think VR is dead. I think it's only growing and going to keep getting more popular.
For sure. And you guys said you did this in 2 weeks. Is that what it was? Basically, you had a playable game within 2 weeks, which is pretty. I mean, that already shows how much you guys have learned, because before Starblazer, you could have never done that in 2 weeks.
Right.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So,
yeah, actually, we had the MVP in 1 weekend. Technically, the game was playable in like 2 days.
That is
nuts. My gosh.
That is crazy. So I may be jumping a little too far ahead, and you guys might not have anything to say yet, but do you guys have an idea for your next title or your next game? Are there already wheels turning of what you guys want to do next? Because I can obviously see, you know, you guys have learned a lot. You are, very ambitious in what you want to do. And so I'm guessing there's probably a lot more we're going to see from you guys. Do you guys have anything that you're ready to share? Or?
Yeah, that's a good question that actually nobody else has asked us. So thank you for giving us the credit of knowing that we're probably thinking ahead. We are. We definitely have ideas and a few titles that we've been set in the stages for, because as Starblazer is coming to a close, we're going to give it our final effort to exit with that full launch. Like I said, we're going to exit early access and launch it this summer. And then that's when we'll officially start communicating like what the next title is. But I would say we've already started kicking that off. We've been working with a few freelancers to get them working on the parts that maybe just needs our artistic direction, but not my like hands-on coding or anything like that at this point, so that we can start pulling that together. I wish I could share more, but not yet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
And we do want to make sure that like our fans and supporters know that Starblazer does have our attention right now, and we're going to make sure that's finally done, finished product before we redirect our attention. So that's part of the reason we've been very quiet about what's next.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure we will have it on the show. I'm sure we will talk once we're allowed to, or once we know what it is. I'm sure we will be talking about it and showing videos. But
I'm just glad to hear you guys are working on something in the future too.
Yeah.
And I really, really recommend, if you guys like 1v1 games, Starblazer is amazing. We've seen kind of proof of that with like Iron Lights, which I never thought I was like a 1v1 kind of person. Yeah. But oh man, it's a lot of fun, especially in VR. It really is.
I mean, 1v1 really adds that strategy aspect, because when it's all on you, you have to have some kind of strategy. Because a lot of multiplayer games, you got another team of 4, 6, 8 people, and you can rely on some of those people that are really, really good to carry your team or whatever through. But when it's 1v1, you can't count on anybody else. You got to have some kind of game in your head or strategy or something. So it is a lot of fun. So. That is definitely awesome. Anything else you guys want to add now, or we will probably have you back on once you're ready to talk about the future game. Sure. We're definitely. I know I'm excited to hear what it is. I mean, we don't know anything, so me and Tyler don't know anything about it. So don't even try to get it out of us, because we have no idea anything about it. So.
Yeah. No, I think we should make it a point to come on here first as one of the shows, give you all the privilege, because like I said, actually, not a lot of people have asked us that question. I think Brandon and I's like greatest strength and our greatest weakness is that we have a lot of ideas. Greatest weakness because it would be very easy to become unfocused. But at the same time, we think as we get to lean more and more into this, and hopefully someday do it full time, then we have so many more things we want to try.
Yeah. And we lean hard in VR. Like, we don't want to make a flat game. We're making VR games. Yeah. We love VR. We're learning in VR. There's so much that goes into it, and there's so much more learning we have, and it's cool because I don't think there's still so many opportunities that haven't been figured out in VR, like interactions, and we are trying to learn on the fly with everyone else, and I love it.
Yeah,
and I think everybody that's probably watching and listening would be happy to hear that, because everybody now that is in VR is very passionate in the community. So that's really good. It's
for sure
super exciting. I can't wait to see what you guys are working on.
I know, I'm excited. That's awesome.
Hey,
but
could I get some feedback from the audience, actually, since we do have like a live audience and people watching?
Absolutely.
I'd love to know what other people thought about us adding content to Virus Popper. We're curious about things like, okay, so we did make it free because we want the core message to be there, but we have talked about, is there a place for downloadable content in the future? Like other types of maps and things like that. We're a struggling studio, so we'd love to have some help in surviving in that sense, but we don't want to dilute our message of being free. So I'd just be curious to get some honest feedback from you all if there's a place for that.
Yeah. I mean, for just what pops into my head is, the learning aspect. If you can keep on the learning aspect, but branch off from, something that could be shed in a negative light if you, charge for it, like this pandemic that we're going through. But there's so many things that can be taught through VR, whatever it is. And I feel like there could be, just my idea, there could be, branches off of that for learning that isn't something that's, could be as shown in a negative light of what this is, that you don't want to go that route. But I mean, there's so many things that could be learned in VR. So I definitely think personally there would be an avenue for that.
I think
it's a great point.
I really do. We talked about on last show about, subscription-based games and stuff, and how maybe I don't agree completely with that. But I think any game that comes out and is free and has purchasable upgrades is no harm in that, because you don't have to have those. You're
Right.
not forcing somebody to buy them. It's an option. So if they enjoy that and want to do that, it's there for them. So nobody can go in and say that you're forcing me to do this or forcing me to do that. If you want to purchase something, you can, but you don't have to.
Right.
So I think it really is a good idea. I think it's great, and I think you should. I really do, because good content on something you like is worth it if you want to keep playing.
Yeah,
it. So,
and you can still download our virus popper for free and play that. If that's free, then that's all they want to play. Then that's fine. If they want to branch off and go to the next thing, next learning exercise or whatever, whatever that may be. I mean, I think that's okay. I don't know if the viewers have any ideas as well. I know Paradise Decay said Virus Popper 2. I think it's a great idea for devs to add future content. Added content keeps the game in people's minds. So I definitely think
it does.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
and leave it in the comments too below. I'm sure they'd love to hear it later if you're watching this after.
Just be honest. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We read all the feedback we can. We're very transparent, and we love it. We just want to do good for y'all in the community. We love the VR community. So.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great community. It really is. Like, we've talked about how it's a small community right now, but it really is so many passionate people that just love VR, and they're just, the only reason they watch this show is just because they love VR, and that's the only reason we do it, is just because we love VR so much. And we see the true potential, of what VR can be. But yeah, so I mean, I'm sure there will be some comments after the show and stuff, and I mean, yeah, I think there's definitely potential for that. And like you guys said, you guys are a small studio, so it's not like you guys are this big multi-million-dollar studio that it just has endless amounts of income. You guys, yeah. So I mean, I think to be able to support the VR game devs that are really passionate about VR, I think it's great. So
they're the ones who are going to make it great. They really are, and innovate too, which obviously you guys are looking towards, and hopefully on the next game.
Yeah.
You push those. So yeah, we're excited for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Thanks.
So awesome. All right. Well, we definitely appreciate you guys coming on, and definitely keep us updated with what you guys are doing in the future. We can't wait to hear. So I know everybody's excited. So, but again, we definitely will have you guys back on. We appreciate you being here. So
yeah,
absolutely.
So
we loved it. It was fun.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Pleasure, guys. We'll talk to you
guys
later.
next time.
See ya.
That was cool. Those guys are really cool. I'm so excited for what they have coming up next. I think that is really cool. So glad they can come on.
I just still can't believe that they made that game in 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, a weekend, really. He said he had a playable, it was playable in basically
overnight.
A weekend. So, I mean, that just shows, I mean, they went from, Starblazer and not knowing anything about VR game development to working on that game and learning so much that they were able to put together a playable game, within a weekend in a product.
And again,
in 2 weeks.
all just from the passion of VR. They weren't even developing for VR before Starblazer. And I remember getting into that. I think I was probably one of the first ones to get into one of their alpha accesses. And it was great right off the get-go, and to not develop in VR, it's hard to know what works and what doesn't, with VR, because especially with first-time developers, that it was amazing out of the gate. So to see them now coming to fruition, having a game that's going to have a full release, and then working on the next project gets me super excited. So.
I think one of the things about VR that's great too is it's caused so many people to get into game development and do things they would have never done on flat, because people are excited about it and they genuinely have ideas for things that they think would work great in VR, and they go out and they try those things, and that's how they turn into a beta, and you get public betas and stuff, and it's great to see all the people that have done. I mean, look at the guys at Beat Saber. I mean, Beat Saber is one of the biggest games, and they were nobodies before Beat Saber. They were nobody, I mean, they took an idea that they had and implemented it into VR, and it worked fantastically like they thought that it would, and now look at it. It's like one of the poster childs for VR. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, VR is just so cool. It's just so awesome.
And right now, with Brandon and Alexander, they're literally listening to people in the community right now.
Yeah, so give them feedback. I mean, that's what they want. They're asking for feedback, so give it to them. And be honest, that's what they want.
Yep.
So
because everybody out there as a whole, has more experience than they do playing. You know what I mean? So the hours that you've spent playing games and what you like and don't like, they're willing to listen. So
and everybody's different. Cool. Everybody's going to prefer one kind of game over the other. It's everybody has their own personal taste. So Yeah, it's awesome. I really appreciate them coming on. I think it was really cool. And I mean, there's a lot of cool games coming up this year, a lot of stuff to be excited for, even though there's been a lot of negativity this year. And, you know, it hasn't been the greatest year for the world ever, but there are some things to look forward to, luckily. So,
and hopefully they bring out more content for Virus Popper. I really hope that they do. You know, now that they bring that up with added content, you know, when you're paying for content, you're going to get better content. You know, you're not just getting a little update with this and that. You're going to get literal content of totally new stuff. So I think it's really cool.
I think the learning aspect in VR is kind of an untapped market right now. I think there's a lot of stuff that we see in VR is either social, gameplay, you know, stuff like that. There's not a lot of learning, and right now there's not a lot of learning going on in the world in the fact just in the one-to-one space, you know, in the personal being in schools and schools being closed and stuff. So the fact of the things that you can learn in VR can be a very positive thing.
Could you imagine like a chemistry game where you're learning about elements and stuff and seeing them?
I mean, do you realize how much more I would have learned about that stuff in school if I could have learned it through VR? Because I was never the kind of person that sat and listened to somebody give a lecture and I learned a ton. You know, if I'm you know, able to mix in VR, I can mix these different chemicals that I'm not supposed to, and I get the bad reaction from it that I couldn't get in an actual space.
It's the same concept, right, that we talk about with playing games. We played them on flat together, you and I have for years. But the second we play something in VR, I feel like I lived that experience with you. I have memories of that. I don't have memories of our little experiences playing Halo or Call of Duty or something. But when we play anything, literally anything.
We played Toy Box. I have memories of us playing the Toy Box game and just cracking up laughing as we're shrinking each other and stuff. It's
what I mean, the simplest things.
It's true. I mean, there's so much untapped potential still, I think, that people are just starting to realize. And through this time, I think has even made people more realize some of the potential that maybe they didn't see in VR before. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and Paradise Decay said it's a proven fact that students learn and remember more in VR than pancake teaching. And for sure, no doubt.
Yep.
So
I get it. Well, we should end on that note, man. That's a great note for the community. It's so good. I love seeing these experiences. So I'm super glad developers are grabbing onto this too, finally.
Yep, for sure. So awesome. Well, cool. We definitely appreciate everybody being here, as always, hanging out with us on Saturday morning.
Yep. Appreciate everybody in chat. Hitting the like button, DLG27. Appreciate you guys being here, seeing all the friendly faces in chat. Glad waking up to you guys and being here with you. Maybe we'll catch you. I have to get some play session in. I know VR Mang was talking about getting some playtime in here tonight.
Gaming science teacher. I don't know about this weekend. I'm having family coming over and stuff today. Next weekend for sure. I'm gonna have a lot of extra time next weekend. So maybe right after the show next weekend or something we can jump in or something like that. So definitely. I'll hopefully get on
said he wishes more of his friends would get VR. They're all right here, man. Come over and play. Let's do this.
That's
VR. You can have friends anywhere. It's the best. It's the best. I love it.
You can hang out with your friends from anywhere. So
for sure.
Awesome. Yep,
all right, guys. Appreciate it. We will see you. I'll maybe see somebody here playing. Sean,
I might
not.
I don't know. I might. I don't know about this weekend for sure. Next weekend, South Memphis. Thank you so much. That is awesome.
Cheers, man. Really appreciate that. That's amazing.
That is awesome.
We appreciate all you guys. Appreciate the likes, the comments, join the Discord, all of it. Patreons. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
But we'll roll out of here. Catch you guys next time. Maybe in VR.
Yep. Later.
Later, guys.